So just like I did last week, this week I'm going to try this new thing where I usually don't do TV shows, but I'm going to do this one TV show because it's only going to be about 6 episodes. So this is episode 2 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I watched it the other day, and after seeing the first one, that was, a little bit slower paced, but I appreciated that. It gave us an opportunity to get to know the characters. We got to know Sam and Bucky and just kind of where they are in the world after the whole, after Endgame and all that. Now, with this one, we finally got them together. They came together as the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we see a lot more of Sam and Bucky together. We kind of get the story arc is starting up. We don't have the full picture yet, but it's getting there. This one was much more action-packed than the first one. The first one was a very, I don't want to say a slow burn, but it just had a lot more slower moments. It was very much about character building. This one is a lot less about character building and more about world and story building. We learn a little bit about, I guess, what is going to be the villain or the villains. It's actually a group of people, but I feel as if there is a head villain that I think that's who we saw in the first episode. I'm not really sure, the people with the mask and everything. So, I don't know, we'll find out. Of course, there's going to be a main bad. There always is in these Marvel properties. It's never just like a full group. It's going to be one main bad that's in charge of the group. I kind of get an idea, though, that there's more going on with at least this part of this group of people we saw. They are like they're stronger, they're faster, and all that, but I feel like there's something else going with them because we get some time with them away from everyone else, and I did appreciate that because while we don't know a whole lot about them, it gave us a little bit more insight on them. They just weren't the bad guys because they're bad. They're bad guys doing bad things. It wasn't like that. There was a little bit more to them, so I'm thinking they're going to probably play into that a little bit more. I don't know. Who knows? They might just shit the bed next episode on it. But right now, I do like the direction they're going with that. We have an extended action scene in this episode that just goes on and on and on, but it is all a really good time. We finally get to see Bucky and Sam together fighting or investigating, doing what they're going to do, doing their Falcon and Winter Soldier thing. So those of you that thought that the first episode was slow and didn't have enough action, you'll be pleasantly surprised here that it's not the same way this time around. Really going to get a lot more action, a lot more story, like the beginnings of the story arc building. There's not really a lot of like spoilery stuff that happened in this episode. There's nothing I would really consider spoilers, except for maybe the thing that happens at the very end. There's a thing, it's not really a spoiler because I think from the trailers we all knew this character was going to show up. They go to see a character. Since it's the only real spoilery thing in the whole thing, I'm not going to say who it is, but if you've followed this show or the development of the show in the slightest, seen the trailers, you'll know who it is. But they say the setup for going to see this character, it seemed like it was kind of out of nowhere. I understand why they're going to go talk to this person, but it's kind of like, I don't know, because we don't get there. The episode ends when they say, we're going to go talk to this person. And I was like, why? I mean, I get why they say why, but I feel like there are other people that are probably more qualified. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm remembering some stuff because it does harken back to some stuff from the Winter Soldier, the movie, Captain America Winter Soldier. So maybe I need to go back and rewatch that. From what I remember about it, while yes, this person, I guess might be able to shed a little bit of light on things, I feel like there's other people, given their connections, they could probably go talk to that could give them a bit more insight or at least help more. But hey, you know what? They're bringing in known characters to the universe, so that's good. This particular character, I don't really know how everybody, I'm not going to say it's a beloved character, at least not in the cinematic universe. I don't know about the comic book universe. So bringing this character back is kind of like, okay, that's sure, great. All right. Is this character going to end up being a main character on the show? I don't see how. When you see who the character is, you'll know what I'm talking about. They could But I don't think that this character is being set up to be the main bad guy of the show, which is what we initially thought. So I don't really know how this character, beyond just being an exposition dump, because I'm afraid that's what's going to happen next episode. They're going to go see this character, they're going to spew a bunch of stuff out, give us some exposition, and that's it. And if that's the case, okay, it is what it is. But I'm wondering if they're going to do something more with the character, because the character was one of the more interesting characters in the MCU as far as villains go. Not the most, but he had a lot of potential to be interesting. His reasoning behind doing what this character was doing was very interesting and compelling. So I'd like to see how they're going to expand upon that here in the show. Like I said, beyond that, though, not a whole lot happens in the show. We get a bit more of new Captain America, or like weird looking face Captain America, and we get more of his backstory, so we understand he's just not some douchebag who's being Captain America. He's actually a soldier. He is decorated. He's doing he wants to do good. He wants to do Captain America proud. He doesn't just want to be a figurehead, even though we kind of get the idea that that might be just what he is just kind of a mouthpiece for the government, just somebody to put out there and say, look, America, we have Captain America. He's still here. This guy actually wants to do some good, but there's some confrontation between him and Sam and Bucky and another character that comes into that, and I thought that was interesting. It wasn't really original, but that's fine. It was interesting. I am curious as to where they're going to go with it. What is this character going to be? Is he going to end up being a bad guy? Is he going to, because he doesn't seem like he's a douche. He seems like he's a nice guy. I mean, he seems like he's just trying to do the right thing, and he wants to do good. I'm wondering, is he going to get slighted or wronged, or something bad's going to happen where he's going to end up being a villain? That could be interesting if they go that route. I don't know. Or is he just going to be that side guy, the other Captain America? I don't see him staying that, though. I don't see this guy being maybe in this season, whether we don't know if we're getting another season or not, but I don't see this character being Captain America for really long in the MCU, in this universe. It doesn't work, because that's his whole shtick, is that he is playing Captain America. Nobody as far as us, the viewers and the main characters in the show, we don't want him to be. But I like the fact that they didn't just make him a generic douche, even though at times he kind of comes across that way. There's a few things he does that he's really smug sometimes, but then when you see him like in his own time, like he's not. He seems like a really nice guy, a pretty good guy. He wants to do well. And I don't know if that's like, oh, he gets in front of people, he puts his game face on and becomes that. I don't know. We'll find out more about it. There was one thing about the show. I mean, I did enjoy this episode. It didn't blow me away by any means, but I like where the show is going. It's enjoyable. It's not amazing, but we'll have to see where the other 4 episodes after this go. But there's one thing in this episode in particular that I did notice, and I couldn't help but say that's not quite right. The characters in the MCU are all very like, they're all like super strong. They all have like superpowers or something that makes them super. Even Iron Man, who's a regular guy, he's got a suit that makes him super. Bucky, he's a super soldier. You got Captain America, who's, fucking Captain America. Everybody, they do these things that they do. They can do them for a reason. But all these characters, they do these superhuman feats and these things that are just kind of out there because they have something special about them. This guy who's playing Captain America, who like is the new Captain America, he doesn't. There's not anything that we know of, at least, that makes him like a super soldier or anything like that. He doesn't have a superpower. All he does is have Captain America's shield. That's it. He's not like a superhero. He's talented, and he has like all these medals of honor and Purple Heart and all that stuff and lots of medals, but he's not a superhero. So, but some of the things he does, regular people couldn't do. I mean, there's like one thing, it is cool, it's a neat little scene, but I immediately was like, how did he do that? There's a part where a character fighting on top of a truck in one of the big scenes, and like I said, it's cool, but like one of the characters falls off the back of the truck, and he like right before they hit the ground, he throws his shield like way down, and it like catches the person, and they go sliding down the street. I'm like, nobody. That's not even like it's a heightened kind of like. Nobody could fucking do that. That is like fucking impossible. I mean, Captain America could because he's a super soldier. He's got the super serum and all that stuff, and these other characters, yeah, they could do that. This guy can't. He does stuff like that in this movie or show that don't quite add up. I would have rather see him kind of jump in, because there's a part where he and another character that's with him are fighting more or less alongside Bucky and Sam, and they're fighting against some super powered individuals, and they're kind of all like holding their own. But Sam has he's not a superhero either, but he has, the jetpack with the wings and all that stuff. He has all the tech, kind of like Iron Man. And Bucky, he's got the arm, and he's a super soldier. It makes sense. But this guy comes up, all he's got is a fucking shield, and he's all of a sudden like whooping everybody's ass, holding his own with them. And I'm like, that doesn't quite make sense. I mean, if they were fighting regular people, maybe, but they're fighting super enhanced beings. I wouldn't have minded him holding his own, but I wish maybe he had gotten his ass kicked a little bit more to show, hey, you know what? Yeah, you're talented and you're holding your own against these guys, but you're not Captain America. You're still a regular guy. Because he was fighting like Captain America. I mean, he was definitely living up to the suit he was wearing, because he was fighting like he was Captain America, like he was doing the hard hits and taking the hits and all that. And I mean, he's not Captain America unless he is a super soldier and we don't know it. I guess maybe we'll find that out later on. But if it doesn't come out that he is some type of super soldier, I don't get why he was able to hold his own and all that. That did not make any sense to me. Regardless of how talented he is, given the situation, he should have gotten his ass kicked a little bit. And that you may be watching this and saying, well, that's kind of nitpicky of you. But believe me, when you watch it, it's like, it's just a little, I mean, it's cool. It's enjoyable. It's fun. I'm watching it happen, and I'm like, oh, well, that's neat. But cool or not, and well choreographed and all that, it didn't make any sense to me. But you know what? That's really the only negative I could pull out of the thing. I mean, that and why they're going to go see this guy, or the reasoning for going to see this guy. That's the only stuff that I really pull out and say, hey, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Everything else here, I did enjoy. I had a good time with it. I'd recommend checking this one out so far. We're only 2 episodes in. Much like WandaVision, which honestly I haven't seen yet, but from what I heard, the first couple of episodes, not a lot really happened. More has happened here, from what I understand, than with that show. And I did appreciate the character building they had last week, and this week they had the more, world building, story building, action-packed scene. I appreciate that. And I'm wondering what's next week. Is next week going to be another character builder, or is it going to be just more and more action? Is it just going to be action from here on out? Some people might say, oh, that's great. But you know what? After a while, that will wear thin. 6 hours of nonstop action, we're going to need story. So I'm wondering where they're going with this story. Admittedly, the characters here, I enjoy. The story so far isn't anything. That's just nothing special. I mean, is what it is. Once again, I don't know everything that's going on. At this point, I reserve I'm not going to judge it as of yet, because who knows what it's going to be. Maybe next week the new revelations will happen and they'll blow our minds. But as of right now, I don't know. We don't know where it stands. But as it is right now, yeah, I give it a chance. It's only 45 minutes an episode, including the extremely long credits. You're only really looking at probably about 35 to 38 minutes worth of show. So it's definitely worth checking out. Check that out, and yeah, that's my review of episode 2 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Thanks for checking out this clip from the JarCast Movie Podcast. If you like this and want more, then check out the JarCast live stream every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Central Time on the Jacob Anders Review YouTube channel, where you can also find movie reviews every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. You can also listen to the entire podcast on all major podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Google, and iTunes. So if you prefer audio, whichever one is your preferred, check it out there. Once again, I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching. And as always, stay sexy, YouTube.